Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Paste Studio in New York City. We are very excited today to welcome Joe Henry and Levon. Thank you guys so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having us.
You have a double LP, Thrum, that is out now.
It's not double.
It said there was 2 180-gram slabs of wax.
Well, the vinyl version is 2 records. You're right. We just,
Excuse me.
I'm not.
Okay.
So, not trying to be pedantic. I just wanted to make sure that you knew.
I mean, we
No
should
false
be
advertising.
very clear.
Yeah. The vinyl is a gatefold situation. Yes.
That is excellent. But you're going to be playing some songs from that record for us today. Is that right?
Going to, yeah.
Cool. Tell us about the first song.
The first song is called Climb. Even though there's a gunfighter mentioned in the beginning, it's not a song about gunfighters. I think it's about mythology. I think it's about the characters that tell us who we are. That's the angle I'm playing anyway. Well, here lies Billy the Kid. Here lies his gun. Here lies the light of the world, as quick as the dead, as gone as the sun, raised like a tent now, where heads bow are bent down to a gypsy moth roosting home. Heart needing only to feel what hunger has won. Here lies the way I knew how to harbor my mind. There rolls the ship of the sea, steady as she goes, determined to climb, to fly like a kite above the near and the near enough, tugging your arms through their sleeves. A heart needing only to feel what hunger believes. What I loved me back. Let me go. Met my stare, heard me out, sang to me what I couldn't know. Well, here lies the best of us, and here stand the rest of us, dying, trying not to let on. A heart surrendering everything hunger has won. Here lies Billy the Kid. Here lies his gun. Here lies the light of the world, as quick as the dead, as gone as the sun. Thank you.
That was really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about Thrum. You know, for anyone unfamiliar with the term, it's kind of like a humming.
Yeah, it sort of refers to, it's one of those elastic words that kind of imply a lot. It's kind of spring-loaded.
When it sounds like
Well, it's
what
like
it
a vibration.
means,
I mean,
yeah.
it's what it connotates to me is just sort of, something that's pulsing, something that's alive, something that's engageable.
Well,
in
these
whatever way that might
songs
mean.
kind of came to you in that way as well, right? As kind of like something that were these songs were like all related and had like a theme and a kind of like
Well, not a
vibe,
conscious one, but ultimately, when a batch of songs arrive, and I'm always writing songs, they go on a pile, and at a certain point, I noticed that some of them are playing nicely together, sharing imagery, seeming to be getting at the same, notion. And once I recognize that happening, I, pull those aside and start kind of thinking about what's the bigger story being told, what's the movie that this wants to make. And it's not necessarily linear narrative by any stretch. But I recognize, sort of a theme after the fact, but when I'm, in that process, it's pretty instinctive the way that I understand that these songs are related in a way that maybe these other ones that might also be decent songs aren't sharing the same weather. So.
Totally. You've also been producing a lot lately. I remember you did Liz Wright's latest record, and she was just in here recently, and she's wonderful.
Isn't she great? Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering what it's been like for you, kind of switching between producing and writing and recording and performing.
Well, I've been doing that for a really long time now.
What are some of the greatest lessons you've learned then?
Oh boy. To as much as prepare as much as I can and have absolutely no expectation about what I think something's going to sound like. I don't want to go into a studio thinking I know what's going to happen, because then you're trying to drive something somewhere. I'm just trying to set up an opportunity for us to kind of sort of disappear into whatever portal this project is inviting. I really don't want to. I don't want to have a sound that I'm imposing on each artist, myself included. I just want to, sort of help create a living thing that then can walk away from us and have its own life, and we don't have to babysit that idea anymore,
Sure.
But I've been doing that, it's really been, since about 99 or 2000 when I started producing a lot in tandem with what I do for myself as an artist. But I never set out to do it. It just started happening to me.
Sometimes it just works like that.
Sometimes it does.
Well, when you were done tuning, will you tell
I'm
us
sorry, I'm just trying to save your time.
It's all good. Tell us about the next song that you guys are going to play today.
We'll do a song called Believer, which I describe as sort of talking about romantic love in religious terms. It's close enough, I think. Ready, Lee? Way down in a low place, yawning into field, skirting now the river, pushing water further, falling lower still. Oh my word, oh my captain, all my goals stepped into view. My disappeared redeemers, lost believers seen in you. Lost believers seen in you. Steering wide of shelter, flung afield and out of far. under eyes that play and shine and give away just what savages we are. Oh, my stars, oh, my dear lonesome, and it long into blue. My rearranging strangers, finest danger seen in you. Finest danger seen in you. Thrown out for the starlings in air and at your feet, commanded by a weather to be gathered, one calls forward, then retreat. Oh, my witness, my revolution, marching headlong into blue. My creature now forgiven, my reliving scene in you. My reliving scene in you. My reliving. My. Thank you.
So I was wondering if we could talk about your last record a little bit.
Sure.
It's called Shine a Light, and it's a series of field recordings that you did with Billy Bragg.
True.
So I was wondering if you could tell us kind of a little bit about that project just to begin with, but then also what's the seemingly lost art of like field recordings like means to you and why it was interesting to you both.
Sure. Well, the idea came from Billy. He was writing a book that just came out, actually, a beautiful book, about skiffle music and how it transformed British music based on American idioms, and then, that British, interpretation came back and influenced America, and this incredible circular circuit that got connected. And, it's really about as he was researching and he realized how much of this repertoire of this early music that all kind of streamed from Leadbelly, essentially, how much of it was about train travel. And it has nothing to do with trains per se, as much as the mythology, the poetry of trains, because in America, there's a big part of our cultural mythology. When people reference a train in a song, it usually isn't just about a train, It's about escape, it's about the past, it's about industry, it's about longing, all those things. So we were sort of trying to reclaim a bit of our cultural vocabulary. This is not a dead language, these old folk songs. They're there to be taken up the same way we continue to take up Shakespeare, because they're applicable. They have something to say to us right now. And the idea of doing it as a field recording, we got on a train together in Chicago and rode for 4 days to Los Angeles via San Antonio, because it was the single longest route still in operation, and it gave us enough time to record a whole record. And we would, we ride the train, and we have a stop coming up. Maybe we're going to be 12 minutes in St. Louis, and we rehearse a song. We jump out onto a platform with our recording engineer, people moving all around us. We do a couple takes of the song. We jump back on the train. By the time we got to Los Angeles, we had a whole record in the can. But it was really about going back to the source. It wasn't a nostalgic impulse. It was just trying to understand how this is still a part of our cultural heritage, and it's not dead. It's still there to be engaged if we care about it.
That sounds like the dream. That sounds so cool.
It was great. I mean,
had you done like any major train travel before this?
In Europe, but like most Americans, almost anybody I mention trains to will say immediately, "Oh, I love trains." Though most anybody who says that, doesn't ever and has never traveled by train, unless you live here in the Northeastern Corridor between here and Boston. Yes, people use trains. Rest of the country, not so much. So, it was new for me in that way. The music is not new to me. The concept of what that means poetically is not new. But to put myself in that moment with Bill and try to be a part of it was new. And I kind of think it would have had to come from, this idea would have had to come from an outsider. Bill has a very unique perspective of American culture because he stands outside of it, has a love for it, but he's looking at it from a really different vantage point. We're here chin deep in the middle of a big lake and we don't know the shape of it. But he's up there in the fire tower and he can understand very well what this means to us as a culture.
Totally. Well, and there's something about recording on the platforms or, in waiting areas too, that I think, if I'm not mistaken, that notion of going out into kind of underserved regions, rural areas, and just putting a microphone up there and, hitting record, that idea of field recordings is also in a lot of ways a very American concept.
Well, I suppose it is. I mean, we all think back to John and Alan Lomax doing that so significantly and documenting really important music to us that would never have been documented any other way. We were very cautious. Again, I said a moment ago that it's not about nostalgia. And we thought a lot about that. Some people might perceive us as trying to look back into the past and romanticize the past. That had no interest, for us at all. Mm-hmm. It was just really about reminding ourselves and anybody listening that this is still a part of what Greil Marcus called the old weird America that is still, as Billy says, that you can still buy a ticket for. You can't visit the Old West, but you can still go get on a train and ride across it. And you're not doing it in sepia tone. You're not doing it in the past. But we forget that is still a part of our economy, still a part of our what stitches us all together. Mm-hmm. We live in a really, really big country, and we can forget, that the railroad was more revolutionary than the internet.
Ooh, bold claims.
Look it up.
I will. Taking it back to the present, you have one more song to play for us today. Tell us about the last song.
I'll tune for it.
Okay.
It's called The Glorious Dead. I'm not exactly sure what it goes on about, other than about 3.5 minutes.
It's a good length for a song.
Here we go. Ready to leave on? Mm-hmm. Bells at St. Martin's even moan, rolling like an army down the hill. Horses guard the gates like sweating stone, where the glorious dead can't keep still. She hikes her gown and moves, now everything is news. Returning time, confusing all I know. But she lifts my eyes, standing by the strong arm of the sea. Desire waving out like ship to shore. The fallen day has made quick work of me. The rising moon still asking something more. She hikes her gown and moves, now everything is news. Returning time, refusing all I know. But lifts my eyes, by, a great hat on her head. She waves as if she wants to draw me near. Flowers fly like flags above the dead. Fill the sky like every rising cheer. She hikes her gown, then moves. Now everything is news. Returning time, confusing all I know. But lifts my eye. Well, once I laid my finger to your lips, like they were a Bible writ in Braille. It might be moved to let a secret slip. Might be open to the twisting of a tale. She hikes her gown, then moves. Now everything is news. Returning time, confusing all I know. But lifts my eyes. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So this is a father-son dynamic that we have going on right now.
It is.
How long have you been playing together?
Oh boy. Well,
Professionally, shall we qualify?
Well, that's really where it began, kind of professionally. I mean, he played in the house a lot when he was in his formative years, and there was a point I had a recording studio in the basement, and there just came a moment where I just heard his voice on something, and we were recording, and I said, hey, as soon as he gets home from high school and has a snack, let's get him down here on this tune. And then we haven't stopped.
That was probably 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, my album called Blood from Stars was the first time that happened.
And Levon, excuse me, you're going to be on tour, or at least touring.
Yeah. In December, we're playing some shows.
Yeah, full band shows, I saw.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that a lot.
Excellent. All those dates are online, so anyone watching should definitely check those out. But Joe Henry and Levon, and the album is called Thrum. Thank you guys so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Good luck to you.
Take care.